YouTube, welcome back. Brian Phillips here with a post-mortem. We had a really awesome landing, and when I say awesome, I mean horrible. I didn't quite make it back to the runway, and so I'm just going to show you how easy it'll be to fix this. We got some squishing effect. That was just from the tail getting whipped into the ground. It didn't actually crash on there. And then this is fine because it touched grass. And the interesting thing I learned about my little crash is that this plane actually might do really good on grass landings. You can see here we have a ding. This is the only damage that I'll have to try to kind of fix per se. And then this flat gray, as you know, gray is super hard to match. So I'm going to probably try this dark ghost gray from Model Masters. But I also have some mixed grays that I've made before. But let's get started. I'm going to use this mucilage. This is stuff I get from Hobby King. And it works super good for this sort of thing. It's super tacky. And you could use CA, but I wouldn't recommend it. The other thing I was thinking about doing is just taking this out altogether and putting magnets in there so that these things can be allowed to break off. So you got a little bit of crushing damage there. But guys, let's just be real. Like, these planes are going to get a little dinged up. It's just part of the nature of a foamy. And that's part of the reason why I think some of these more experienced pilots kind of don't like them. Because they think it's sort of not a good idea to have a product. Okay, so this mucilage is dried up a little bit. They don't like the idea, I think, of having a product that is allowed to damage in such a way. But honestly, to me, I would rather have this little minor, teeny tiny damage than have a plane completely destroyed by a crash. Just a minor little... That stuff's getting hard. When your mucilage gets hard, there's a couple different ways you can handle it. One, you can throw it away, and that's what most people would do, but I'm just far too cheap for that. Two is you can microwave a cup of water and then stick it in the cup of water. But like, that stuff, when it's sticky like this, when it's thicker like that, it actually works really good. It's just very difficult to get out of the bottle, and it will break the seam at the top. It's an ultrasonically welded seam here, and that stuff will actually pop if you push really hard. So just be aware of it. Okay, so I'm just going to spread that there, and then I'm going to put a little bit on the bottom surface of the stabilizer here. Just see what I'm talking about, how it tries to open that up. And I didn't get very much material back here, so I'm just going to put a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. And then I'm just going to rub it. Spread it out. And this stuff, believe it or not, is just amazingly strong. It works super good for this. And it's somewhat forgiving at the beginning, but it doesn't stay forgiving for long. So it's in there. I could leave it, or you can pull it out and you can slide it back in, and you can work the adhesive, and it will Velcro up like that. That's not actually a proper terminology, but... And then, as you can see, we have a little bit of residue. Extra glue that came in there. And what you can do is you can use Kicker to actually take that off, if you care. In my case, I actually don't care. I think it's fine. It looks good enough. That little bit of glue there is not going to bother me. So, now that I use this Q-tip, to do that, I was thinking I might use the Q-tip material to fill in these holes. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet. I would really like this to be whole again. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why don't you just use foam, Brian? Well, foam it's hard to fill a very small void like that with foam. So I'm just going to use this cotton. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Just whatever material I literally am touching at the time, I will use, depending on what I'm fixing. Okay? So as you can see, I've got this material filled in now. That took like all of 3 seconds. I used the mucilage. It was already on there. And I need to get just a little teeny tiny bit more mucilage on here. And then that's going to bond to the wing, and then I'm going to use CA to kind of cover it all up. And then I'll just paint it, and you'll never even know it was damaged except for the fact that you saw it on YouTube. So that's the first step. Then the second step is you can either let this set up or you can just kind of leave it the way it is. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it the way it is and just jump right into it. Now, one issue I've got is that because I've not been playing with my CA very much lately, I've had this problem where the CA is wanting to kind of get pretty thick to where it's maybe not even running. And that's a problem because this stuff is very expensive. Same with this stuff. Oh, that one's still running, but it's not foam safe, okay? This actually will be fine on this part of the plane. You don't have to take my word for it. Just wait and watch and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I have to always do this to kind of clean the tip of the glue tip on the CA bottle. You're probably wondering why I share this stuff. Okay? Because this is real life for people that are in the hobby. I'd like you guys to see what it actually takes. Okay, so you got the fibers where they need to be. Normally you would use foam safe. This is not foam safe, but I'm just going to throw a caution to the wind here because I know I can get away with it. Okay? And I'm just going to put this down here. And remember, once the chemical reaction happens, the risk of damage is gone. Okay? So I'm going to just be the guinea pig for the world to see. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. The easiest way I found is to just have a Q-tip ready, and then you can spread if you need to. Or you can I'm just kind of coating over the top of the work surface here. Now don't go too crazy. You don't want a ton of this glue on there. Okay, and that just soaks into the fibers. Okay. We're just gonna, it's amazing how fast it gets hard. That sounded strange. Okay, kicker. Now remember, this kicker will break down that other glue. So I'm going to put it into this one here. And then I'm just going to touch it and start that chemical reaction. See how fast it's going, guys? It's steaming or smoking. In fact, I had to move my head back just because it was kind of burning my eyes. And then lick my finger. Lick my finger, and the chemical reaction is done-ish. It's still a little bit hot, but there you have it. Now we've got material here that we can work with. And yes, it's not perfect looking, but it's plenty good for what we're doing. Okay? So there you have it. Winglet is fixed. And that's actually going to be a kind of a vulnerable spot on the plane. So I think what I might do is just err on the safe side. Well, that was a nice shot. And go ahead and, let's see. I'm going to see if this stuff will work for me. And see what I do, guys, when I'm buying my glue. You see over here, I got all this glue sitting back here. I buy this. I buy it in big packages like this, and then I write when I opened it. And then if I do get one, God forbid, that kind of dries out on me, like this one's pretty dry, I'll be able to dip into that. But I keep the cap unopened. And then this stuff, see how thin it is? And then I can take and just undo this and dump it back into the other bottle. And it works really nice, because then I've got that, I've got this, that's the thin stuff. So I can show you with the thin stuff, this is foam safe. Okay, this is foam safe. But you can see this stuff isn't even running anymore. You can mix this with this and it will restore it back to its, viscosity that allows you to use it. So if you don't want to risk it with this non-foam safe stuff, which is significantly cheaper by like a quarter the price, half to a quarter. It depends on how big a bottle you're buying. So I'm going to take this little piece of foam and actually take the control surface and move it so I can get at it. This is a fast plane, so I actually want to try to fix this little spot. I think I'm actually going to do that with mucilage again. That worked pretty good. Just work this up to the bottle top here. And you can see there's no adverse chemical reaction happening there. It's all done too, by the way. So I can actually sand that down if I want now, or I could smooth it over with some more CA and then it'll just blend in perfect. So really all I need is just a little bit of glue on this fibrous material here, and I'm going to stick it into that void. You could do the same thing with a chunk of foam if you wanted to, but I've had really good luck using foam because then it holds the CA, whereas the foam will just basically, you get what you get, you know. So I'm going to let that sit in there. I'm going to spin it, and that'll get really firm. And watch how it's kind of pulling on there. Once it gets firm enough, then I can reach down there and kind of hold that, and then I can use the little booger to hold that in place. I'm going to lick my fingers so it doesn't stick to me. Then I'm just going to shape it a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing here. Got to pull a little bit more material out. And then when you get the stuff on your fingers, you can use Kicker to clean it off when you're all done working. It works really nice. And yes, believe me, there's better ways to fix this stuff, but this is just what I found works well for me. There's people that have some really fancy tricks up their sleeve. This is not the only way to do it. Just the way I choose to do it. And some people think this is kind of a dumb way to do it. That's fine. Go ahead and do your own video and show people how to do it your way. Okay, so now we can push that down like that. And this stuff will actually shrink back if you use like a hot tool to shape it a little bit, which is really nice. So you can see how that's kind of fluffy and there's not much to it. Well, what's going to happen is that's going to suspend and it's going to hold the CA. And then the CA becomes the material. It becomes the wing. So we're just going to go one drip here. We're going to go like one drip and then maybe a second once it gets started working. And then we're going to come in here with our Kicker and get it prepared on this thing. So we got like 2 or 3 squirts on there, and you can see it'll take that glue off. We're just kind of letting that soak into the fibers for a second. See how it take it right off my finger? It breaks down that type of glue. So you want to make sure you don't soak this like you would normally soak a glue joint. So all you got to do is just take this and just touch it, and it's just immediately wants to work, you know, just right away. And you can just shape it. See? Look at that. Lick my thumb. I know it's kind of gross. Sorry, guys. I know it's probably not the most sanitary thing to do, but it definitely stops you from sticking. It's nice and hot still. But we filled in the void, and you see these little fibers. The easiest way I've found to fix that is to just I'm going to actually dispense it onto this Q-tip, and I'm just going to spread it real quick. And then I'm just going to wrap those fibers into the edge of the control surface. And remember, we've already got a little bit of Kicker that's activated that, so I'm going to come back with just a little bit more, and I'm just going to paint it right over the top. And there you have it, guys. Fixed. Doesn't look perfect, but it's filled in and it's smooth. Now I got to flip it over and do the other side. And the other thing is, when you're using the CA, keep your tip clean. I know I've mentioned that many times. If you keep your tip clean, you'll have better luck with the CA in the long run. Okay, so make sure you don't have CA on your fingers when you go to flip a plane too. Oh, let's test this. Oh yeah. That thing is just rock solid. We could do a little CA over that too. In fact, we're going to do that right now. What this is going to do is that in the future, if this gets bumped, it'll be kind of like protected a little bit. It's not going to stop it from getting damaged. It's just going to keep it smooth. You don't want to create a bunch of drag where that foam has been kind of scrubbed up, you know what I mean? And just put that over there. And this is the side that has kicker on it, so I can just wipe that, and that will set that glue. So now it's basically got a little bit of a coating over the edge, so it's nice and smooth. Cool. Okay, so now this, to be honest with you, I'm not super duper worried about it. That was all just from bouncing into the concrete. If you wanted to fix this, you could do hot water and it would expand this foam. But I'm just honestly not too worried about it. I think it's fine. I know some of you guys would not tolerate that. That's fine. Again, I'm going to just flip this over. We'll come back over here and take a look at the top of this winglet where the material had been missing. We're going to come into it with some CA. Again, when you're doing this on your own, the foam safe is obviously the preferred method if you're going to use this style of repair. But this will give you a pretty permanent repair. And that was a lot. I probably shouldn't have done quite so much because that chemical reaction will be very, very, very fast now. And I don't want it to be quite that fast. Okay, so I licked my thumb so I could lay those fibers down. As you can see, we've kind of got that edge there now. We've restored the shape and we've restored the look. So just to compare it over here, see, we had this material missing. Now we've got another material to replace the shape of the wing. And yeah, is it perfect? No, but it's good enough. I mean, this stuff is not perfect out of the box. Now that stuff will discolor over time, and so if you decide to paint it, then you may have to paint it white as well. Okay, now one other thing too I want to show you is I had some damage on my initial takeoffs and landings the other day, not on takeoffs, but on the landings. And what we had to do was we had a situation where we were cracking next to the wheel well over here. So we fixed that with some CA. That seemed to be holding up well. You don't see any crack on this side, but if you flip the plane upside down, it does appear to have a hairline crack, so I'm not real thrilled with that. Granted, I didn't really have a great landing either, if you remember. So I'm going to grab over here on the wing so I can get some good leverage. I'm going to hold this where I can hold and brace it, and then I'm just going to pull. See, I don't know that that's actually broken open like the other one was, but I'm still probably going to go ahead and try to get in there with some thin CA. And so the way I'll do that is pretty straightforward. I'll grab this bottle. You do need some good thin CA. It can't be the kind that's thick. See how it's runny almost like water? When I do this, I'll come in here like this and just put a little bit in there, and then I'm just going to leave it, and that's all you got to do. But in my case, I did an experiment the other day. I put some acetone in this to see if it would mix back up. I don't know for sure if it worked or not, but being this is foam safe, I am not going to be using the acetone based product because it'll probably eat the foam. So I'll come back and give you guys a report on that at some point, but for now, for today, I'm just going to take this bottle and just grab the top off of it. And I'm going to let this keep working. And if you ever want to clean tips, you can put acetone, like nail polish remover, into a bottle or a cup, and you can drop these caps into them, and they will clean the CA off. So they will literally come out like brand new. It's crazy. You probably think I'm full of it, but I'm not. I've done it on numerous bottles. Okay, so this is going to be, this is one that's not opened. So I'm just going to keep this to put it back on when I'm done. And that keeps and maintains the quality of a chemical. And I do need to have my kicker ready. On this is easy. I'm just going to give it a spritz when we're done. In fact, I may go ahead and pull this out and just have it ready to use that dipstick. So I'm going to stick it into my bean bag so it doesn't tip over. I'm going to open this. I'm going to push down with my elbow, and I'm going to hold the plane and support it so I break open this joint a little bit. I'm going to let the glue go in right there. I'm just going to let it go into the foam. and just let it wick in. I'm opening it up worse. That way the glue gets in and it can do its work. Then I'm going to grab a fresh Q-tip, 2 of them in fact. I'm just going to work this right over the surface, get it painted over, and then I'm just going to work that right in that area, and then 1 drip of kicker, and we're golden. That's all there is to it, guys. It's very simple. It doesn't take but a few seconds to do it. The worst part is paying for the CA, because CA is expensive. All the stuff that I buy in the hobby, this is the least rewarding stuff to buy, because you buy it and you're usually just fixing crap you crashed. But I go through it a lot because I make a lot of mistakes, and mistakes are the way you learn. So, but the thing is, when you go and buy like $60 or $70 or $100 worth of glue in a quarter, that means you crash a lot. Okay. So we're good. So the kicker's done. That should help to secure that joint. Obviously we already took care of that. Took care of this, took care of that. We're not going to address this. This is fine. And then this is nice and set up and we're good. So now it's just a matter of checking the gear. The gear were dinged up pretty good. I think they're fine, but we're going to find out real quick. I'm going to just lay this out of the way. Got my radio system, throttle cuts on, gear switch is in the up position. And I'm going to pause and get some of the stuff put away and come right back. Okay, so we're back, cleaned up some of the glue. Gonna get a battery. This is just the actual battery I would normally use in the plane, just to make sure we have the correct voltage. Even though the BEC is gonna spit out, I believe this one spits out probably 5.5 volts at whatever amp rating it is. It's just important to have enough power to really back up your BEC and ESC. Okay, so we're gonna let everything initiate. Kind of be nice to it. Okay, let everything dance. Okay, now we'll flip the plane upside down. Battery is secured enough to be upside down just fine. Have good support for the plane, and then we can grab the radio system, transmitter, elevator. Just, this is a quick check. While we're inside the building, it's a little easier to... Okay, I see the rudder working. I see the steerable linkage moving. Ailerons. Okay, everything's working now. Let's check gear. Okay, did you guys see that? Yeah, it's getting stuck on something. You know why? And it's not a rocket science thing. It's very simple to tell what happened. Some idiot landed on the grass, and now it's kicked over a little bit. Okay? So what I have to do is, and you can even see some grass in there. So what I have to do is I have to basically somehow brace things and bend it back just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bend it just like that, and then I'm going to try to bend it the other way. I'm intentionally bending it from way up here to get extra leverage. Now we're going to try cycling the gear. First of all, let's make sure it works. Okay, so it's still turning. It does seem like it's back maybe just a touch. Whoops, flaps. Okay, so we're good going in the hole. We're good coming out of the hole. We're good cycling. We aren't broke free. I need to brace this and bend it back just a little bit forward to the front here. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to hold on to this like as hard as I can hold on. I'm going to grab this like that. I'm actually going to go into that little loop. I'm just going to work against myself just like that. Okay, gear down, gear up, and I can tell it's hitting the tire in here, so that means we're still bent back farther than we need to be. So I'm going to hold here, and I'm going to just hold as tight as I can, and I'm going to pull it back toward me. Okay, and I'm going to leave it for a second. Because what will happen is if you overdrive these things, they don't work well. Okay, now let's look at the mains for a second. This one's being overdriven a little bit. See, that's spinning somewhat free. This one's pushing down tight. Okay, so this one needs to come out just a hair. Actually, not a lot. I'm really surprised how well these landing gear have held up. I mean, I have some horrible landings so far with this plane. Still tight. some really bad landings, Brian. Really bad. Okay, let's see how this goes. Oh, we're getting close. Probably one more little bend, and we'll be good. Okay, you don't want to break those out of the foam. See how it's spinning? Spinning. This one's free. I think we're good. This one's still got a little teeny bit of pressure beyond what it should be. What I'd like to do is go like this and pull because I'd get better leverage, but I just don't think I'm going to get that angle. We could try it with a crescent wrench though. Nobody wants to take their whole plane apart to do this crap, guys. I'm just a regular guy. I got regular stuff that needs to be done. I got garbage to take out. I got junk like that to do. That's the sort of stuff that keeps you free to do your airplanes, is if you keep your wife from getting mad at you for not taking the garbage out and stuff like that. Then you can fix your airplane too. Just gonna twist this. Okay. Alright, I think we got it now. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, centered. This one got pushed back a little bit again. So it needs to come forward just a hair. Now why do you think that matters, guys? Because when you come down and it gets bent back, so I just pulled it forward. Jeez, I actually overdid it. Weird. Okay. And then I'm going to push down with my index finger and I'm going to pull against this. Just a little bit, okay? Oh yeah, that's pretty close. One more little fold like that and I think we've got it. Okay. Need to kick it just a little bit this way. Just a little teeny bit this way. I'm just going to wait. Okay. Ooh. See how it's spinning free, guys? We're more or less centered in the pocket. There is no down pressure there, okay? If there was down pressure, that wheel would be seated up against that bushing material, would go up onto this fold, and then you may have a braking effect on one wheel and not the other. That causes crashes. Okay, so nose gear. It does take longer. It always has. I think we might be okay now, guys. So the plane is ready to rock and roll again. And really, to be honest with you, I mean, I probably could have bent that stuff straight in the field. But in terms of, maybe getting this thing back on, that was super easy. That took 2 seconds. Ironically, the one got knocked off. I don't even know how it got knocked off. Because there wasn't any damage on this one. There's damage over here. And just need to do some touch-ups. So I'm going to grab some gray, and we'll do that quick before we call it quits on the video. Okay, folks, so I'm going to use this Model Masters Dark Ghost Gray. I believe this is fresh enough to work, but I honestly don't know. It's one thing I run into with this paint. You get this paint, you think it's going to be good, and then, a few months later, you come back and it's total garbage. That's one thing. But this is an oil-based product, I can tell. So I think we're going to be okay. It's going to mix right up. That's one thing about using an enamel versus using like a water-based latex paint. I believe this stuff does better mixing back up. So I'm going to just mix that for a second. Get that restored back to its correct mixture. Like I said, grays never seem to match exactly right. I'm okay with that. This is not a super duper scale plane, if you will. So I'm okay with it maybe not being a perfect match. I just want to make sure I kind of cover up the damage because it's ugly. Okay, cool. So just scraping the bottom. This is just a paper clip. Nothing magical going on here. I'm going to grab this. Just get a dip of that stuff. Let's see how this goes. I did leave the battery plugged in. And we'll just touch right here. Yeah, that's going to be just fine for what we're doing. We're just kind of hiding the damage. Oh yeah, guys, that worked really nice. That's going to be a good match. Surprisingly, very good match. And then right here, we'll just kind of, because this isn't... Wow. I can't believe how good of a match it was. That's surprising. these camo finishes are always a pain. It seems like you always damage the gray that you don't have. So in this case, see how there's a darker gray? But it's a camo, so like, who knows if this wasn't already that way. Okay, so that's touched up. So really this little damage here is the only damage that you'll be able to see up close. And when it goes by like 80 miles an hour, you're not going to notice it either. So we'll see how that works. Once it's dry, sometimes it get a little bit darker. And then this one screw that's not matching, I'm just going to, might as well. Oh guys, you know what I want to do is I want to paint all these things, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to resist the temptation. Well, back in one piece. It's about a 31-minute video, and I had you pause for about a minute and a half, so half an hour worth of pain and suffering for one stupid mistake, right? That's a pretty good outcome for the RC world. When it comes to RC aircraft, a half an hour repair is a good repair. Alright folks, come back for more. We're going to be flying this thing again. The next time you see a flight, it better be nice and calm. That's all I'm going to say. Thanks for watching. Check the descriptions below, guys. It's got links to stuff you can buy to help support the channel, and you're going to buy it anyway. Thanks for doing it. Bye.